Life is hard. We all know it. One of the ways I get through the hard, the ugly, and the uncomfortable, even just the plain annoying parts of life, is by finding the funny. Jimmy Kimmel does this too. Satire is his tool. Sometimes it stings when it's aimed at us. It's messy, it's loud, and it's a perfect example of something I want to talk about today. Satire. What it is, why it hurts, how our reactions influence what follows, and most importantly, how it can help us grow. Now, I didn't used to watch Jimmy Kimmel. His show comes on way too late for me. But after his recent controversy, I tuned in. Because here's the truth. Sometimes our reactions to satire have consequences we don't even expect. I'm not here to debate whether the jokes were cruel. That's not my point today. What I noticed was how quickly we jumped, all of us, from feeling to fury. That rapid leap tells us something important about how we react, how we learn, and how we might do better. Hard to admit, right? Me too. Truth check. So, first, what is satire? Satire uses exaggeration, irony, and often cruelty to expose or criticize. It's not just making fun, it's using humor as a mirror, granted, sometimes a distorted one, to show what people notice about power, behavior, or ideas. Some people choose it on purpose, some become the target without choosing it. Both are useful to study. Satire highlights what's obvious to others, our contradictions, our blind spots, our extremes. If someone caricatures you, listen. What did they zero in on? Is there a pattern? Could this be a point of growth? Or simply someone's cruel joke with no value? Both answers are possible. Satire may not always be fair, but it does show us something others notice. Truth check. Here's where I want to pause. Our reaction choice matters because every reaction has a consequence. When President Trump blasted back at Jimmy Kimmel, he didn't silence him, he amplified him. He made me, someone who hadn't been watching, go look. He gave Jimmy Kimmel a bigger platform. Think about that. The reaction itself pulled me and a lot of other Americans into the story and into Jimmy Kimmel's viewpoint on things. Our reactions can fuel the fire or let it die down. The way we react can create the very outcome we don't want. Truth check. What happened with Kimmel shows how fast a satire moment can explode into something much bigger. ABC suspended the show for a few days. Kimmel returned with an emotional monologue and defended the idea that silencing comedians is dangerous to free speech. The story turned into a national debate about comedy, accountability, and whether regulators should step in. That's a lot for one late night segment to kick off. And it's a good example of how satire interacts with politics and media. Here's where we pause. What are the facts we know, and what's just reaction? Truth check. I'll be honest, my first reaction was fear and anger. I thought, wait, is free speech under attack? Is our constitutional right being ripped away? I immediately felt a big emotional surge, and that was my red flag. This is the red flag that I suggest in every episode that we notice. I knew I needed to pause. When my reaction spikes that fast, it usually means my thoughts are probably at least a little distorted. So I paused. I fact checked, and what I found is our system of checks and balances is still working. It works slowly on purpose to give us a cooling off period and an opportunity to pinpoint truth. No rash reactions. We can proceed with our recombobulated, best informed selves. And I needed that because my first emotional reaction wasn't the full truth. This reflective reaction is much more dignified and truthful. My delayed reaction protected us all. I am not ashamed of myself for a public emotional overreaction, and I didn't fuel the outrage machine. Who knows what misinformation and unnecessary exaggerated emotions I might have spread? Hard to admit, right? Me too. Truth check. So, how do we handle satire without blowing up? The same way I try to handle all emotional triggers, with my 3Ps clarity method. Pause, notice the sting, and breathe before you repost, retweet, or even rage. Pinpoint truth, separate the satire from the facts. What was actually said, and what are the confirmed facts about the situation? Then proceed with purposeful forethought. Choose your action deliberately. Choose a reaction that builds, not just burns. Comment, reflect aloud, or use it as a prompt to change something in your circle. But don't just feed the outrage machine. I'll pause, I'll fact check, and then I'll decide how to respond. Truth check. When satire lands on us, it stings because it makes visible what others already think. That's painful, especially if what they see isn't flattering. But the pain is also an opportunity to see what others are noticing about us, an opportunity to self-reflect. Is this criticism fair, partly true, or totally off base? An opportunity to decide whether to change, double down, or shrug it off. That doesn't mean we'll like what we see. I don't when it's me or something I believe in. But if we refuse to self-reflect, we stay stuck. We put up walls, we blame everyone else, and nothing changes. Satire forces things into the open. No mystery, no guessing, just here's what people think about you. That's hard. That's uncomfortable, but it's also useful. Pause and ask, does the satire reveal a useful truth I haven't been willing to see? Truth check. So, through my window today, satire can wound, it can also reveal. We don't have to like it when something we believe in or ourselves is the butt of a joke to use it as a mirror. Let's try to be curious rather than instantly furious. The way we react shapes what happens next. Do we fuel the fire or let it cool? Do we learn or do we just lash out? That's our choice, and our choice has consequences. Hard to admit, right? Me too, but being willing to challenge our first reaction, that's how we grow. Truth check. If this resonated, tell me, when did satire make you see something about yourself or something you believe in? Drop a quick story in the comments. I'll be reading. This space isn't about censoring or forcing people to agree. It's about pausing, noticing what's driving our reactions, and joining the conversation with openness, self-awareness, and a willingness to really listen together. I welcome different views, but I expect respect. Disagree? That's great. Explain why. Have a different angle? Share it. Here, our differences are strengths, not weapons. And if you'd like a little extra help shaping your reply, I've linked my 3Ps in Action comment edition in the description. It's the same process I use myself to pause, pinpoint truth, and proceed with purposeful forethought. And remember, sources always matter. The reporting I relied on is linked in the description and on my website if you'd like to read more. If you find these reflections valuable, hitting the thumbs up or subscribing helps bring more people into the conversation. Remember, pause, pinpoint truth, proceed with purposeful forethought. Join the conversation. See you next time.